Hi, welcome back everybody, it's Mike Newton down here at Lytham Golf Academy. We've got a comparison video for you today and we're seeing an introduction of some utility irons from many of the brands. So what I'm going to have a little look at today is maybe the decision that you guys are going to have out there when you're purchasing maybe your irons, and then how you're going to then transition into those long irons. Are you going to have a traditional long iron? Are you maybe going to replace it with the new utility irons, these slightly sort of chunkier iron looking clubs, or are we going to put it in with a traditional sort of hybrid in there? So I'm going to test the utility iron against a hybrid. I've got the new Titleist U510 utility 4 iron, and I've got the TS2 Titleist hybrid. So it's pretty much the same loft within 1/4 of a degree. Same shafts, and I'm going to see the difference of maybe this ball flight and maybe give you guys some ideas of maybe which one you might want to go out there and put in your bag yourselves. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the TS2 hybrid, so more of a traditional hybrid. Obviously, see every brand introduce these. I think these have been a fantastic addition for the amateur golfer. Just a lot of ease of use of getting that golf ball in the air, and much easier than the traditional sort of 4-iron sort of club. So 23 degree on this TS2 head. I've lofted this down to 22.25, which is as low as I can go, which makes it as near to the 4-iron loft that I've got in the 510 model there, which is 22 degrees. So there's literally 1/4 of a degree difference between these. There's nothing at all. Got the same shafts in. So let's hit some shots with the hybrid first. So we're typically going to should see more of a high ball flight here. Bad opening shot there. A little bit on that right hand side. But again, it's initially that higher launch. It's a flight that's going to get up in the air quickly. So we know the hybrids are very much geared around, or very much friendly in those awkward lies sometimes you get. You know, maybe they're sat in a little bit of pressure on the fairway, just run off the fairway, that's semi-rough. The hybrids really coming through their own, low CG, pulling it back, very much trying to get that golf ball launching quickly. Very nice shot, very nice ball flight. Bit straight on that particular one, which was nice, good strike. And that's running out to 236 there, which I'd probably expect for this type of loft. Now we know sometimes with hybrids they can be a little bit more draw bias, so for many golfers that's a very good positive in a way, isn't it? Because of the line angle of the club, it tends to move the ball a little bit more that sort of left bias in a way. Maybe for the better players, sometimes we don't like to see that, but again, it depends on the individual. If you're a fade of the golf ball, hybrids could be a good option. So that might influence your buying when you're trying these. You know, with an iron against a hybrid, you might see a bit more of that draw bias with a hybrid. So if you are a fade of the world, that could be just helping to sort of straighten up your shots a little bit. Plus with the adjustability, maybe another advantage of a hybrid for a lot of you out there, the adjustability in the neck sleeve, particularly in the Titleist, not obviously for every brand, but certainly in Titleist there, you've got options to make more upright or more flatter. So again, that is always going to influence face direction and also your shot direction. Okay, so that's a good example there. I didn't hit that well at all. That was a bit of a low heel shot. It's come out a bit lower in its flight because of the strike being in that lower section of the face. But it's held its line not too bad and it's got away with it. So that's the forgiveness factor. Again, that could be another big influence of you purchasing possibly a hybrid over a utility iron, is a little bit maybe more forgiving on those miss hits. So again, you've got to work into your equation. How's your strike? Where is your miss on your strike? Again, you've got to maybe go and get a good fitter, and with the launch monitor can measure that sort of strike pattern that you're getting. Okay, again, so that was a little bit low in the club face, but it's done very well. Again, another factor that it is more of a forgiving golf club, can help in those slight miss hits. Okay, let's get one more hit with a hybrid. So that was a better strike, high ball flight, just a fraction up that left-hand side, but much higher ball flight. So another good advantage with that higher ball flight on the hybrid is you're going to get a little bit of stopping power. So if you're a golfer that's find yourself hitting a lot of hybrids into greens, you've got that little bit of help with a higher ball flight, gives you that bit more of a descending angle and just gives you a little bit of that stopping power as it comes into land. Okay, so there's a few shots hit with the TS2 hybrid. Let's move into the U510 utility iron and see how that performs any different to this. Right, okay, so we've got now the new Titleist U510 utility iron, 4 iron, 22 degrees of loft, so it's 1/4 of a degree less loft than what I've just hit with that hybrid, so hardly anything in it. Same shaft, graphite, quite a bulky head as we saw. I've just done a review of this, so I will put that up on my channel. You can go and check that out in a little bit more detail. So it's quite a chunky head, big wide sole, hollow head design. Obviously, this is like a bit of a crossover between an iron and a hybrid, so you're getting more of that iron look, maybe a little bit more of that iron ball flight, but more of that forgiveness that you might sort of find with that hybrid, and a little bit higher than a traditional 4 iron. So many golfers will struggle with that traditional 4 iron through fittings we do at the academy. Very rarely guys are buying 4 irons now. It's mainly sort of 5 iron upwards, unless they're really good ball strikers and got a bit of speed. So this is where then I think the hybrid sits in, but they're going to get a decision that some golfers just don't like traditional hybrids. So then this is, I think, where it fills that gap a little bit more in terms of you've got that iron look, that flat face of an iron, so you haven't got that roll and bulge of a hybrid, but you've got that sort of forgiveness of a hybrid and that slightly higher ball flight. So it'd be interesting to see how this stacks up ball flight wise against the hybrid, and maybe also a little bit of accuracy as well. A bit of an argument that an iron is a bit more accurate than a hybrid, but let's give it a go and test that. Wow, and that's a high ball flight. Worked a fraction up that left-hand side, but that was pretty high ball flight. Now, I personally, this is me, I personally prefer more of an iron in a long iron, as many of you'll know through my What's in the Bag videos. I don't carry a hybrid, but I do carry long irons and also a sort of 2 iron, so it does fit my eye a little bit more, so I'm more comfortable with this long iron in a bag, but I do have a utility iron as a 2 iron, not a traditional 2 iron. Just to make it a little bit easier and more forgiving. Yeah, that's good. Very high ball flight. No issues of getting that up now. Granted, I've got a bit of speed, so it is a little bit easier for me to actually flight that golf ball. Again, you need to go and get out testing and see if whatever your speed is, if it's enough speed to get that consistently flighted. But I think that could be a good option for a lot of golfers. Argument, as I mentioned, is you could be a little bit more accurate on your slight mishits with this long iron, possibly than a hybrid. Yeah, and they're very consistent. Very consistent on the flight, the shape, trajectory. That feels absolutely wonderful. It's a little bit of a louder noise because of the head, it's hollow. Bit of a louder, maybe crack against a hybrid. Again, that's acoustic, so whether that's a good thing or bad thing, that's again one for you to sort of decide. And again, very, very consistent. Very high as well. Beautiful. So definitely for me, I'm going to look at some numbers obviously in a minute, but definitely a lot more consistent. The window that ball came out, and also the control of that sort of shape there, struck those really, really well. So again, it ties into me. You know, if I'm in that fitting environment, I've tried some of the hybrid, probably granted I'll try more shots in a fitting scenario, but I've tried some of the hybrid there, hit a couple of iffy strikes there, maybe a little bit difference of the shot sort of direction. And then I put that in my hand and it sort of tends to come out that same window, very consistent. Clearly I feel more comfortable. I've struck all of those really quite nicely. So much more consistent. So again, it shows and it backs up that I feel more confident that it's changing my performance, my emotions as that particular club, and I've hit that actually a little bit better, a little bit more consistent. But let's go look at some numbers in a little bit more detail and see the difference of a hybrid against a utility iron. Okay, so if we look at that dispersion first on the right hand side with the red and the blue. So the red was the utility. The hybrid, and the blue was the utility iron. So we can see dispersion wise there, apart from that one, I think it was the first one I hit with that hybrid that leaked out a little bit more to the right. The hybrid wasn't too bad, to be fair, and the blue of the utility iron, again, pretty consistent. Probably just that one that just went a little bit high and dropped in a little bit short there, but obviously a bit more consistent there. Just didn't get that one that got out to the right that we did with the hybrid. Looking into the actual sort of numbers themselves, so we've got hybrid on the top and U510 on the bottom, the iron. So hybrid, a little bit more ball speed there, 141, but you could argument it is quarter of an inch longer in its shaft length, so that's possibly making up a little bit of speed there. Let's just have a look at club head speed. Yeah, there you go. So you see 101 club head speed against just under 99. So a couple of mile an hour more ball speed, club head speed is going to translate into a little bit more ball speed. So that's probably just through that little bit of shaft length. Looking at launch angle, you see 11.6 against 13.4. So that's an interesting one. I've actually launched the iron there higher, but to be fair, I struck all of those irons really well. So a couple of hybrids, I caught those low in the strike. There's a low Healy one, which I think was that one, and then the one a little bit low in the club face. So that's just going to pop that launch out low. But if you look at the other ones, are very similar out in that launch window in comparison. Look at spin, 4.3 against 4.2, so very similar on that spin number there as an average. We've got sort of peak height at 31 and 34 with the utility iron. So again, I've hit the utility iron actually higher, but I did strike them better. Again, it shows that is going a bit of against the grain that you would sort of expect. You'd expect hybrids to go higher than a utility iron, but my emotions there, I felt more comfortable. I struck it better. When I struck it better, the ball speed, the launch is there, and the height is there, isn't it? So that's where it's just changed it for me personally. And that could be the other way around for you, or it could be the same as me. That's again my message to you: is go and get fit yourself, because you know one will suit your eye better than another for a certain club delivery and your certain shot shape that you're getting out there. So carry distance 215, gets 213, hardly anything in it at all. Right, there we go, guys. So there's a hybrid against a utility iron. So a few options for you to sort of think about there between the iron and the hybrid. You know, which do you prefer? Do you prefer the iron look, the iron feel, maybe a little bit more of that iron ball flight possibly? Or do you prefer the sort of hybrid, the ease of use, maybe getting that ball launching, more of that maybe draw biased options in there. So there's a lot of little bits to sort of cover, isn't there, and sort of just touch base on it. And again, you can't substitute you going and putting these side by side in a fitting environment with a launch monitor like I've done there, in a bit of a deeper process, clearly changing some shafts in there maybe, and some sort of neck settings on the hybrids that you'll have the ability to do, and then see which works for you and your delivery and your tendency of your shot shape. Okay, post comments down below, let me know your thoughts. Is a utility iron the one in your bag, or is it a hybrid, and maybe the reasons as to why they've gone in the bag? Love to hear your thoughts as always. If you enjoy the videos, you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Very much appreciate it. Ring that bell so as soon as a video lands, you'll be one of the very first ones to watch it. Also, follow me up on the social media platforms, both Instagram and Twitter, and the handles there are @MNGolfCoach, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.